What I'm going to talk about today is the relationship between the spear and long pole in Tai Chi training and the joint locking techniques that we looked at in a recent podcast, in a recent vidcast. So right here is a long pole. This is made of Chinese waxwood, a white wood. This one has darkened over the years that I've had it from the oil and the sweat in my palms. But when you get one at the beginning, they're quite pale white wood. And I want you to take a look at some of the rotation of the wrist in pole movements. These are taken from form for this weapon. And I want you to, when you watch it, think about how you might connect this to joint locking, to grabs, to responding to grabs. First, look at this rear hand and watch how it turns as this pole goes down. Notice that my elbow stays tucked in. Notice that my palm turns all the way and then all the way. Please notice that my body, when I do them at speed, is relaxed and the dantian is turning along with the movement, because in Tai Chi joint locking, as in pole practice, if you don't have complete body relaxation, if everything isn't soft and down and relaxed, if you don't have the proper turning combined with the overall quality of the body, these things simply don't work, particularly against a large, powerful opponent. If you now watch the tip of the pole, you'll see that it bounces, it vibrates in the plane of what could be a joint lock in the absence of the weapon. So this one I'll do first is a vertical movement. Next, I'll do a sideways movement. Notice the change in position of my hands. Notice my elbows are down. Notice that the movement of the pole is now in this horizontal plane instead of the previous vertical plane. It's not a big stretch to imagine what you might do to an opponent's arm, forearm, or shoulder with this kind of movement. Here we go. You can again see the vibration. I'm going to take a smaller version of this with a point on the end, a waxwood spear. This is a more commonly available, less expensive option. Martial arts supply houses have these easily. Made from the same wood, which has a nice, it's somewhat like our native hickory, but not quite as hard. And it bends easily. You can see how easily. So it shows the vibration and the arc that my force is creating on the wood more clearly than the big heavy pole. If I apply the spear to this metal pole and I do this movement where I create an arc here away from me, you can see as I do the movement that the spear will bend. And it bends Please notice that I'm not hitting the pole. In this practice, I am maintaining my contact. Please notice the turning of the hands. I maintain the contact between the spear and the pole, between the stanchion and the spear. This is not a movement designed to whack something sideways. It's not this. Makes a nice ring. It's this. Now, if you slow down your video or look closely at that last movement, you'll see a wave in the spear. Here's the same movement on the other side. Now, rather than applying force away from me, I'm applying it toward me. Again, you won't see this. You won't see the spear lose contact with the pole. And you can imagine what an opponent's joint might experience with that force applied to it. So, very simple really. Turning this way, different positions of the arm, hand and wrist, two different sized training tools used simply to demonstrate how our joint locking techniques originate with battlefield weapons techniques. We'll do some more of this in the coming weeks, exploring the relationship between other weapons in Tai Chi and the open-handed techniques that come from them. Hope you enjoyed that.